Hey everyone, welcome back to the Daily Tri. My name's Travis, and we're back with the last award of 2022. I've loved making this series, and I hope you've liked it too. The last award is the Best Triathlon Podcast Episode of 2022. Now, there's lots of triathlon podcasts out there, and I feel like I've listened to every single one of them. Let me know what your favorite episode was this year, or just let me know which podcasts you're listening to. I'd love to know. Again, I hope you find one you haven't heard or seen before and can enjoy them when you're kicking off 2023, hopefully with some good training. And don't forget to give the creators a follow too. At number 5, I've got Pro Tri News' episode where they interview Sam Reynouf.
Because if your turnover goes towards tennis, for instance, and you're turning over hundreds of millions, the PTO governing staff and the investors still hold all the control on where that return of investment goes. And you then decide how much you charitably dose out to the pros. Is that roughly?
No, not quite. No, look, I'm very happy to share the specifics. So we have a commitment in the membership agreements that 25% of our revenues must be paid in prize money.
It seems like these guys sometimes get a lot of criticism, but I really appreciate what they do for the sport. And this episode, in my opinion, was incredibly insightful and fun to listen to. They asked the most direct questions that gave us a clear view on what was going on behind the scenes of the PTO and how CEO Sam Reynouf is directing the organization. At number 4, I've got a Fitter Radio episode. It seems a little bit more of an obscure one, but on their podcast, Bevan and Tim always do a coach's corner, and on this episode, continuing on the subject of the PTO, they talk through some of their major criticisms of the organization and what they think needs to be done in order for them to really change the sport going forward.
The element of what PTO is developed for, the Stronger Together, is being lost as well, because the rich here are getting richer. We're not growing the depth and breadth of the sport.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. And I think that the communication from the PTO is still not effective enough.
It all stemmed from the Collins Cup picks that took place, and I thought it was fascinating as well as worth a listen if you're curious about where the sport's headed. In third place, and this one was definitely the podcast I was waiting for the most in 2022, and that's the How They Train episode with Olaf Boo. The How They Train podcast is my favorite at the moment, as Jack Kelly, the host, asks the most blunt question to all of his guests and doesn't stop till he gets his answer. In this one, he tries to crack Olaf and gives us some of the secrets behind his coaching of the Norwegian duo.
Funny thing is, again, in the individualization part of it, because if you look also at Christian and Gustav, they are also very different human or personalities too. So if I would say, well, look at Christian, how now he won the Olympics, he won the World Championship.
At number 2, speaking of the Norwegian duo, I put Rich Roll's episode with the two after the World Champs.
That has allowed us to basically go way higher in the carbs than what is normally considered okay for the stomach.
A lot of days in the winter this winter just to be able to dial in the position on the bike. But the problem there is that the feeling you have in the wind tunnel isn't necessarily the way of riding outside. And especially me, when I'm riding, I'm changing position quite a lot and been moving the saddle a couple of centimeters back and forth.
Christian and Gustav shared such a deep race recap that isn't available anywhere else to my knowledge, and they go into such detail about their preparation, their friendship, and their lifestyles. Rich Roll's interviewing skills are bar none, and it's a brilliant watch or listen. At number 1, you guys by now know that I like to throw in a curveball, but this one I think is definitely the best. I've got Greg Bennett's interview of Phil Liggett. Phil Liggett is the voice of cycling, in my opinion, the best commentator to ever live. He covers the Tour de France usually, but last year he commentated on the Collins Cup. I'm telling you, if you give this episode a listen, you'll fall in love with Phil Liggett, and I wish we had him as a permanent commentator of the sport. I know it's not much of a triathlon pick, but just trust me, give it a listen. It's fantastic.
The picture, because with CBS, we always wrote scripts, and they had to be perfect. I talked about the roller coaster of pain, and that was just because they were riding up and down on the cobblestones in the Paris-Roubaix. And the American producer thought, that's great, man, that's great. Yeah. Use it. That's just what the television told. But people think I sat at home writing all these down.
No, yeah.
Nothing was further from the truth.
All right, well, that's it for the Daily Tri Awards. Thank you so much for watching. When I'm back from my postponed Christmas trip, I'll have 2 more Top Series videos coming out that kick off 2023. Again, I just want to remind you, these are just my choices, as they were the ones that stood out to me and that I remembered. So help remind me of some of the great ones you've heard, or just put some of your favorite podcasts that you're listening to right now down in the comments. I hope you'll be celebrating the new year coming, and I hope you'll keep following me with this channel in 2023. I think it's going to be epic. And as always, my name is Travis. Have a good one. See ya.